The Morristown Green, a central park echoing with the footfalls of Washington and his compatriots during the Revolutionary War, is not merely a serene escape, but a living testament to the town's pivotal role in shaping our nation. Morristown's history seamlessly intertwines with every individual who grew up there, creating a childhood rich in the echoes of the past and a vibrant spirit of community carried forward by each successive generation. These are their stories. This is Beyond the Green.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Green, where we talk about the people and places of Morristown. I'm here with a longtime Morristown resident with a passion for plant-based eating, environmental sustainability, community building, and supporting small businesses. With a background in communication and marketing, she works to create meaningful connections between people, food, and local businesses that shape her community. She is dedicated to making plant-based choices more accessible and driving positive changes through her advocacy. Please help me welcome Raizzi Stein to the show. Hey, Raizzi.
Hi, Peter. Thank you so much for a warm introduction. That was really kind of you.
No, thank you so much for sitting with us today.
Of course.
So holl transparency, even though people may or may not be able to see the background here, we are sitting in the Famished Frog at the Hops Bar. So, Raizzi, let's talk about your work with Planted Society. What is Planted Society for those who don't know?
Absolutely. So Planted Society is a nonprofit organization with the aim to help build more sustainable communities. And we do that by partnering with different cities around the world and partnering with their local restaurants to help add a minimum of 2 plant-based specials to their menu items for 1 month during an initiative called Eat for Impact. And I am the lead organizer for Morristown's Eat for Impact initiative happening this March.
Yeah, and right now there are 10 restaurants.
Correct.
Through March 31st that have created recipes, menu items for this initiative, one being here at the Famished Frog.
Yes, absolutely. So here at the Famished Frog, they actually created more than 2. They created about 8 or 9, but they've been kind of circulating them throughout the month. So that actually included a falafel burger, and he switched up the tzatziki that was on it to be like a cashew cheese with a pretzel bun and a decadent chocolate cheesecake and a mushroom pate and just so many awesome, wonderful things.
And some of the other establishments that are part of this, the other 9 are Baklava Cafe, Central Taqueria, Chef Freddy's Table, Enzo's, Parkside Tavern, Sushi Lounge, Portofino's, South and Pine American Eatery, the Address Greek. So it's pretty extensive restaurants that you were able to participate in this initiative. So what I'm curious to know is, at the end of the day, is it an accomplishment to be able to get these 10 restaurants to come on board, to get them to agree to participate? Or for you, are you trying to take more away from it than just that?
That's a great question. So absolutely, just getting the restaurants to sign on was a huge accomplishment. I mean, we have so many amazing restaurants here in Morristown, and I really wanted to highlight that. But, most of these businesses, they're small businesses, and to make a change, like adding new specials to their menus, it's a big risk. So, it's plant-based eating, more sustainable eating, it's becoming more in demand. But it's still, if you're not already used to cooking like that, it can be kind of scary to introduce these new menu items. And honestly, we kind of did it on a little bit of short notice. We only did it with a couple months in advance. And so having these restaurants participate and getting them on board, that was incredible. I mean, every single one that, was excited to join and said yes, that was a win in of itself. Then, of course, at the end of this initiative, we would absolutely love for these specials to be, added to their menu permanently or seasonally, or, just get more comfortable with having sustainable choices in general. A lot of these restaurants may have already dabbled in plant-based specials here and there, but it really wasn't the forefront of their menu item. And so I've heard so many amazing reviews so far already. You can, on Google, on Facebook, on Instagram, people are like, finally something that I can eat that isn't like a side salad or French fries or a baked potato with no butter. It's coming out and being like, I can go to these restaurants with my family, with my friends for a birthday, an anniversary, a date night, and not have to like completely modify and switch around the menus. That's a win. And that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, so you walk into an establishment, what's the pitch look like?
So actually, each restaurant was a little bit different in how I approached them. At first, I called these restaurants, and most of them had me, follow up with an email. But that's not personal, right? Like these people are talking to hundreds of people every day, customers, their staff, and it can be a little stressful just to get a phone call out of nowhere from somebody like you don't have the face of the name. So I took it upon myself to just kind of walk into these restaurants. I live really close by. I took a day for myself, and took a couple days actually, and just came in. I'm like, listen, I want to talk to your manager, your owner who's here. And I pretty much say, there's an awesome opportunity for you. There is an initiative right now called Eat for Impact, where we've partnered with all of these different amazing cities. And this year it's happening in Morristown, and we'd like your establishment to be a part of this program. It is completely free for the restaurants to join into, and we provide them a lot of promotion on our social media, on our newsletters. I partnered with 20 different organizations and businesses who are also promoting this initiative within their network. And then if they are still on the fence and are like, listen, we don't know how to do this, or I don't even know what would taste good, or I want something that's going to be aligned with our current menu offerings, we offer unlimited consultations to create these menu items. And so we understand that these businesses are busy. They don't have a lot of time. They don't really want to take too many risks. And so we try to make that process as easy and streamlined as possible by pretty much providing all of the work for them.
Now, off air, we talked about at the end of this initiative, you're going to have analytics from each restaurant.
Yes.
Tell me, how do you plan on using those analytics?
So, well, what we do is at the end of every single initiative, we generate an impact report. And within that impact report, we actually show what the environmental data is and what we've saved. So we show the greenhouse gas emissions that are saved, the water and the land. And we kind of compare that to, different metrics of this is the equivalent of driving back and forth to the city this many times. This is the equivalent of taking this long of a shower. I mean, just for context, one traditional quarter-pound beef burger that you can get at any establishment, any restaurant, any fast food chain, the amount of water that takes, just that one burger, is 2,600 gallons, which is the equivalent of showering, keeping your shower on for 2 months straight. So we take the sales data from these restaurants, and we calculate, how many specials were served, and we say, okay, for every meal that you had something that was plant-based and sustainable rather than its meat alternative, you actually had this type of environmental impact. And so this is really useful for the restaurants. They want to see how much they sell, but it's also like, listen, just as one small restaurant, in one community, like this is what we were able to do. And so we use that moving forward for when we start pitching other cities and other campaigns, as well as if we want to bring it back to the same city that we want to work with again. For instance, this isn't our first initiative here in New Jersey. We've worked in Montclair twice in 2023 and 2024, as well as Morristown, one down south. Sounds too close to Morristown. But yeah, that was actually very helpful because I was able to use this Montclair report that not just has the environmental data, but as well the sales data as well. So these restaurants are like, wow, these 12 restaurants in Montclair for 1 month sold 4,000 plus dishes, and they generated over $127,000 in sales. Let's bring that here. And so we use that data, we show people that like this is what we can do. And it's a really pretty report that we're working on right now, but we'll know all of that information come the end of the month.
Right. Now, even though it's not really the purpose of the analytics, would you ever use that data to kind of figure out what menu items really hit home with people compared to those that are kind of missed the point?
Yes, we do. On top of having the sales data provided from the restaurants, we also offer, each restaurant gives out a survey card at the end of their meal if you order one of these specials. And so we ask customers to be genuinely honest because, some of these restaurants, like, they know what they're doing, they put all of their heart into it, and some of them are a little new and maybe like didn't know exactly how to make it like pair along with their menus. Like it can be kind of overwhelming to cook certain foods if you've never worked with it before. And so this is no hard feelings to the restaurants themselves. This is just data, objective data that we can use, that it's like, hey, I think some people would have preferred if this had a little bit more this seasoning or a little bit less of this, or, priced a little bit lower, priced a little bit higher. We actually, plant-based food is actually a lot cheaper to purchase if you're not, buying all of these, meat or dairy alternatives, which actually none of the restaurants did. All of the restaurants used ingredients that they already had in-house. So we ask these restaurants not to price it too high, not to price it too low, price it fairly. But at the same time, it's like we want to make sure that customers, and we are trying to approach customers that don't genuinely or not generally eat plant-based food traditionally. There's actually more of an impact with people who are not used to eating like this, trying something new. Because if somebody who is already vegan or already plant-based goes to these restaurants, they're already going to eat this way regardless if they're going out to eat. So somebody who's a local, who's not used to eating this way, they come out and they choose the plant-based version over the traditional animal product-based version. It's going to have more of an impact. But, we're trying to appeal to the modern consumer. We're not trying to say something tastes good when it doesn't. And so we want these restaurants to succeed. We want it to be at the same level of quality that they are used to giving out to all of their customers.
Yeah, so I know you said you did it twice in Montclair. You did it down South Jersey. What's your basis to bring it back to Morristown, or would you take it? Is it to bring it across the whole state? What would make you bring it back to Morristown?
That's a good question. Well, I have had a lot of fun running this. This has actually been one of the coolest projects that I've worked on. I've met so many amazing people. I've tried so many awesome dishes. I mean, I've lived here my whole life. And I think we had some plant-based options, but not like the most that I think we could have had, considering just how many amazing restaurants we have here. I think the basis of bringing it back to Morristown, I mean, I'm excited to see what the impact report is. I'm excited to see the sales data. I'm excited to see it all come to a close. I do think I would like to run this again. I can't guarantee yet, but knock on wood that we can bring it back here. In regards to expanding more into New Jersey, we actually rely on volunteers to lead these initiatives. And so, we try to get the word out that this is happening and inspire others to lead their own. So we've actually had about 4 or 5 different people reach out to us who are here kind of in New Jersey who want to bring it to their towns. So I don't know what the status is going to be for the second half of the year, because right now I only know what the campaigns and the initiatives are up until June. But it's very possible that not only can we bring this back to Morristown, but even better with more restaurants and more specials after, building that trust factor, but that we actually do expand out to New Jersey even further and make New Jersey known as a sustainable state. I mean, we are the Garden State after all.
Indeed. So for those who are watching this now and are interested in volunteering, how can they go about doing that?
Great question. So you can go to eatforimpact.org, and there's going to be a section on the website that says nominate my city to be a part of Eat for Impact. And that will go straight to our director, and you can set up a meeting, and you'll learn more about what it takes, what the process is, what the time commitment is. This was a lot of work. It takes a lot of work to do the research of, look into every single restaurant, because I did a lot of background research, like who are these restaurants, what do they offer, what is their standing here in the community, and then who's going to help you. This is led by me, but not all done by me. I required a lot of help, and that requires being confident and brave enough to reach out and ask for it. So you need to do research on who are going to be your allies, who is going to bring it out and bring it to their community. marched my butt into the Morristown Environmental Commission, and I was like, this is happening. And they were so excited to help me that I actually got appointed, and now I'm part of the commission, because this is something that I wanted to do as a town. You know, I reached out and I worked with our mayor and got a certificate of acknowledgement. I presented about it at town hall. I hosted a potluck at our local church, the United Methodist Church, with their environmental organization, Earthaware, just as a way to like bring people in, try plant-based sustainable foods for free, see, oh my God, this is really good. Where else can I have this? It's like, well, if you like this, you know, there's so many more restaurants here who are offering dishes like this. I just started going to events. I started meeting people, and you know, you just got to be really boots on the ground with this. And I will say it's very hard to lead something like this if you're not ready to be available, if you're not ready to be there, if you're not ready to be the face of this campaign. This is fully people-led, and you have to be very present.
So looking back, doing this, before you started going to restaurants, for those who may be interested in volunteering for their own specific cities, or, you know, helping you perhaps in the future in Morristown and or anywhere in Morris County for that fact. But what would you say the best advice you would give to them, what you thought was reality and what wasn't reality? What advice would you give them? Because when we start these things in our mind, we think, hey, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
But I know for a fact it's never X, Y, Z. So can you just quickly talk about the hurdles that you had to overcome?
The hurdles. Well, I mean, it takes some time to initially get these restaurants to say yes. I mean, you go in there all gung-ho and you're like, we're going to help you make yourself like even bigger and better. Like, let's collaborate. And, you know, if they don't know you already, that's going to take some time to build that trust. You know, you have to be consistent. You have to follow up. You have to be ready to be available to answer these questions. And you kind of have to be comfortable with receiving a no. Other challenges, I think there was some issues here and there with like wording on the menus. We have a certain way that we like to present these specials, and so, but then the restaurants themselves have a certain way that they like to present their specials that aligns with their branding. So there's collaboration there. Start as early as you possibly can. I think there's so much. I mean, I'm an ambitious person, so I'm like, I want every single person on board. I want to know every organization. I want everybody there. So I'm going to reach out to everybody, but it's a lot. And honestly, build a network. I think I did a lot of the upfront work like on my own, but if I was going to lead this again next year, I would definitely take in a bigger team. I mean, you know, it takes a lot of time to be communicating with the restaurant, 10 different restaurant owners and 20 different organizations, and writing speeches and presenting and marketing it online and, you know, doing all of this work. Definitely build a team. I would say build a team. And also, you do not know who's going to be the people that are going to be helping you. So even though I did a lot of research, into, you know, who's going to help me out. Like I said, I went to the Morristown Environmental Commission, right? And so when I was there back in November, I kind of thought I'd be like a fly on the wall, and I would just see how it's run, and I would present next month. And they're like, who are you? They're like, who's this new person in our meeting? And I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go, even though I really wasn't prepared. But I'm there, you know, I'm excited to talk about it, and they see my passion, and they're like, wait, this is awesome. And then there was a woman there, Leslie. She's not part of the commission, but she attends these meetings, and she's actually the one who runs Earthaware at the church. And so she was like, wait, that's amazing. We just actually ran a documentary that talks about these issues, and we've been wanting to like do something like this. And so I had no idea going in there that she was going to be the one helping me, and allow people to help you, right? I think another thing too is if you're an ambitious person and you have a project in mind, you kind of have like a way that I want it to look like this, I want it to run like this. But be open to this collaboration, be open to creative ideas, you know, let people bring who they are and their best qualities forward. And, I'm working with her and she's like, you know what? We need to talk to the library. And so I'm like, that's a great idea. So she actually, good friends with the director, and we just walked right in. We're like, listen, we want to put up a library display that talks about sustainable eating and cookbooks for plant-based foods and learning more about like animal agriculture and the impact it has on the environment. And so I didn't know it was going to come from there. And so each thing kind of dominoes into the next awesome relationship. And I think my favorite part about this was just like, I came out with this with so many amazing, not just like connections, but friends, like people I can genuinely call my friends. And so having built that, when I first started, I've been here for a long time, but I really wasn't active in the community as much as I would have liked to be. So I just kind of came out of nowhere and I was like, listen, we're going to make this happen. And so now that, I've built this rapport, I've built this trust, I know now what to expect with restaurants. I know now like how long it takes to actually onboard everybody and to get people excited and committed and like what it really takes. I know that like moving forward, if I'm going to run this again, what to do, like what I can avoid. I think, but that's with any project, right? Like you just have to start. You can't like plan ahead for everything that's going to go wrong because you'll go crazy. But you have to at least start. You got to do your research, but you have to finally be like, listen, I've researched enough. It's time to get out there. It's time to talk about it.
Well, you're an excellent example when you have tenacity and believe in a cause, you can do anything that you set your mind to. And it is refreshing to see somebody who is, and it takes a little bit of courage, like I said, to get in the way of, of the unknown and put a step forward, because you're an excellent example of what happens when you have that courage to put yourself in an arena where it's unknown to you. Amazing things can happen, and you should be applauded for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us today. I know great things will be in your future, and hopefully we'll see you sooner than later, and I'm hoping that you can bring the initiative back into Morristown next year, bigger and better than it was this year.
Absolutely.
So,
I do too.
Well, Raizzi, thank you so much. Be good, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on the Beyond the Green podcast. This was a wonderful time.
We appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Of course.